What's up? This is All Up in Your Biz, and I am here with Lauren Murrell. She is former lawyer, or maybe still practicing. We'll see. You always do a little bit of law in your job, I have no doubt. CEO and co-founder of By Sarah, and from what I know from your posts, you are a super manifester, a
Mhm.
super believer, a high vibes kind of gal. But I know there is one affirmation that I read this morning that's going to take you back, and I want you to share what it means to you. It was stay strong, keep really strong. So,
Mhm.
welcome, Lauren. Can you tell us about that?
Thanks so much for having me, Yvonne. It's a real pleasure to be here, and hi to everyone that's listening. Yeah, wow, that takes me straight back to a very difficult time in my life. That was 2012 when I had just been diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. I was only 23 at the time and told I had a 20% chance of survival in battling that very aggressive form of cancer. And that's when I really learned the beauty and the power of affirmations. And the one you just shared there, stay strong, keep really strong. That was when my hair started to fall out. And I had really long, beautiful blonde hair at the time. And that was the early days of seeing the journey that I was about to head down and that physical change in the body. And I remember standing in the bathroom in the hospital at that sink and looking in the mirror and saying that to myself because I knew it was going to get really, really hard and I'd have to keep really strong because in those moments you have a choice to crumble and feel completely powerless and a victim of life, or you have a choice to fight it with every ounce of your being and using language and believing that there can be a better way is incredibly, incredibly powerful. So that's where that affirmation came from.
Like, when I was in my early 20s, I was in college studying law, not going to class, but living my best life, in the gym, having a good time. And like, where did you get that resilience of like being able to come up with these affirmations and just stay so strong? Because if I was told I had a 20% chance of survival, like, that's a pretty low odd, right? So, how did you how did you pick yourself up other than affirmations? How did you keep going? Because you were also in isolation for some time, right?
That's right. So actually, I was at law school at the time, just a few weeks away from my final law school exams. So for me, the news was so devastating because I couldn't finish law school and I couldn't start my job that I had lined up. So that was so devastating that I'd worked so, so hard. And as you know, law is not an easy career path. It's, total dedication and commitment. It's really hard work. So to know that all of that was potentially gone forever was really hard, but it was actually very motivating because that was taken away from me, along with many other things at that time, my hair, my identity, my strength. But it became a motivating goal to get better and to get my life back on track. So I think I didn't use the language of affirmations and manifestation. I didn't have that vocabulary over 12 years ago now. It was just, I think I've always been a very focused individual. So where I've had a goal to work towards, I can process that and I can work with that. So using language like that was just, I guess, that next step of thinking a way of being positive and believing that tomorrow would be better than today and just always working towards the next thing. And okay, today I'm having this test, tomorrow it's that treatment. And it was a very intensive form of cancer. As you mentioned, I was in protective isolation. So the diagnosis came and I was hospitalized overnight and it started straight away. So there was no time to go home, to prepare life, tell family and friends. I was straight in, down to have all of my obs checked. I had something called a Hickman line, which is where they insert tubing into your chest cavity, and I still have the scars here, so that they can insert the drugs into tubing that hangs out of your chest rather than going into your arm every single day. Um, I was actually phobic of needles at the time. I would literally pass out if I had to have a blood test. So the speed at which everything was happening meant there was no time for delay and worry. I just had to face it every single day. Okay, I was phobic that day. Now I've got tubing hanging out my neck. And it was so fast and so intense that it was just, okay, right, this is life now. And how am I going to deal with it?
Did you have any symptoms before? Like, what was it that made you go in and get yourself checked? Was it what were you feeling?
So a couple of months before, so I was diagnosed in February 2012. A couple of months before, I'd had pains in my neck, but I attributed that to, maybe I hurt myself in a workout or just, too many hours at my desk or like strained my neck or something like this. But really, there was a tipping point of a week where I had just the most bizarre and extreme symptoms of fatigue and night sweats and like loss of appetite and just completely out of character. And at the time, I was very athletic. I was running all the time, super healthy, like non-smoker, non-drinker, just really healthy. So it was just very, very strange. And things got so bad that we had to call for an ambulance to come to the home. And they did a quick assessment and said, okay, let's take you to A&E. And in A&E, they were doing some blood tests there. So at that time, I was like, oh my God, like there's my arm, but I can't, can barely bear this. And they were saying maybe the symptoms are glandular fever or scarlet fever. But the thing, it wasn't quite stacking up. So they sent me home that night and called me back the next day. And I just had, a little handbag or something. And when I went back and they gave me the results, it was okay, no time to go home. All my notes were at home on my study desk. And it was just okay, treatment starts right away. It was so fast. So I think that's a blessing and a curse because there was just no time to worry. It was just straight in and straight into months of chemotherapy, which unfortunately didn't work. And then I had total body irradiation, which is where they blast the whole body with radiation because leukemia is a blood cancer. And then eventually, my sister Sarah was my life saving stem cell donor. So my sister Sarah literally saved my life. And that's a miracle because it's very rare to have a sibling match. They call it a perfect match.
I'm
So,
actually
yes,
getting the shivers.
there's a lot
Getting
to the
the
story and
shivers.
a lot happened.
It's amazing. Like, one thing for sure that you don't realize is that your life can change in an instant.
Yes,
Both good and bad. Like, it can change
absolutely.
instantly all of a sudden, you're in law school, you're worried, you're not worried, but getting your exams, you're studying hard, like, your biggest challenge is just getting enough time to kind of study, and the next thing, nothing really matters if you're not healthy, right?
Yes,
No money, no amount of money matters or no success, no job, nothing if you don't have your health. And it's just a miracle. Like, it's insane that your sister was a perfect match. And I used
yes.
to always say, "Oh, if it's rare, it happens to me," because I've had a few health issues and loss and miscarriage, and they've always said, "Oh, it's rare, it's rare." And I used to be very negative about it, very negative. And then I remember I had a small heart operation and they punctured a vein in my leg and they were like, "We don't know how this is going to impact your life. We don't know." And I kept always saying, like, if it's rare, it happens to me. Don't tell me the stats. I don't want to know the stats. I defy all odds, and the rare stuff always happens. And then I asked the doctor, could it heal itself? And he said that would be a miracle. And at that
Mhm.
moment, I realized how I was always saying to myself, if it's rare, it happens to me. And then I was like, hold on a second. If it's rare, it could happen to me. And anyway, miracle. They have no idea how, but miracle and the leg healed. Did you use any sort of visualization while you were in there or think of your future kind of life?
Well, I was lucky in that my immediate family, my mum, my sister, mum, dad, sister, came to the hospital every single day. The downside of protective isolation was no one could see me. You know, when my family came, they had to wear a face mask, a plastic apron, plastic gloves, which is not so alien now that we've all lived through COVID. But at the time, that was really extreme. They couldn't touch me. You know, it was stand at the end of the bed in case they had anything that would make me very unwell because I had no immunity through all the treatment and I'd end up in intensive care. So even when they were with me, it was a very sort of heightened awareness of being healthy and being well. So, you know, God forbid it didn't, nothing sort of came across to me. So I had that immediate support network in my immediate family, and Sarah come to the hospital every single day after work. And that was extremely helpful in keeping my morale high and keeping me feeling supported. And then alongside my immediate family, I curated my hospital room, which is a strange way to think about it. But given I was in the hospital room for weeks and months at a time, and I couldn't leave the hospital, let alone that hospital room. So it was my way to think about the future and not forget that life does exist outside of those four bare white walls. So a couple of things I did was one was to use posters on my wall, the end of my bed. So I was always looking at something beautiful, and I had one of the Caribbean and I had one of New York. And they were just always there, just beaming at me whenever I'm having my treatment or difficult moments. And they became very powerful ways for me to manifest my future without me realizing that's what I was doing at the time. And once I did make a full recovery, I did go back to law school. I did begin my career and I worked in New York and lived in Manhattan and had that life that I, dreamed of because I was so young. I had missed out on so much. My friends, my peer group moving ahead with their lives and careers, and I had, to just deal with the hardest times and be so cut off and so isolated. So to move to New York and to sort of jump into that poster, if you like, and live that, have that experience, which was just so diametrically opposite to being in my room all the time in hospital to being in such a vibrant city was incredible. And then I came back to London after that experience, but my sense of wanderlust was really stoked. And I thought, where else can I practice as an English trained lawyer? So I then jumped into that second poster and I moved to the British Virgin Islands in the Caribbean, which was quite literally paradise on earth. I couldn't believe that I could live there and work there. And I just felt so healthy and so well after so much treatment and so much. It takes so long to recover from that kind of cancer. So, yes, I was having a fabulous time until a hurricane hit the island and I happened to be there. And I lived through a terrifying ordeal of the eye of the storm, battling the house that I was sheltering at the time. And yeah, many days of being completely isolated and cut off, and then eventually rescued and evacuated off the island. So, yes, adventures in paradise are not always easy. And that's when I then came back to the UK. So, yeah, I definitely used my hospital room to think about the future in a really meaningful way, but didn't really appreciate how much those posters would become very, very real for me in the years following.
And do you now, now that you've lived through the process of, like, seeing it, believing it, knowing that it can happen for you, it's actually happened, but it may have taken some time. You go to New York first, and then are you a huge believer in just the power of the mind, the universe, manifestation, creating your own life and our ability to do that?
Absolutely. The mind is everything. I mean, I'm here today because of incredible science and medicine in the stem cell transplant from Sarah. But the rebuilding of my body required so much of my mind because I wasn't able to leave hospital until I could walk up a staircase in the hospital. And that felt like Mount Everest at the time. I was so weak, so weak. And it was that mental willpower to get out of the hospital bed, walk down the corridor to the stairs at every step, so hard, but sort of willing myself and pushing myself to do it when I had no strength, no muscle mass in my body at all. So there was a lot that the mind had to do to move the body in those moments. And then, yeah, I've seen so much um, difficulty, heartache, loss, that the mind is so powerful in those moments to see you through it and hold things lightly. And particularly when you're manifesting and hoping for things, you can't hold on to it so tightly. You just sort of have to trust it, put that intention out into the universe, and then you'll start to see signs if you know how to see them.
And
And
accept the signs. You have to accept
exactly,
it's a sign. Like, you put up on your LinkedIn the other day that that exact poster
yes,
Paradise, you were at an event, and was it Simon Reeves?
that's
Put up
right.
the exact same poster. Like, you were meant to be there. That is
Mhm.
your sign again that anything is possible, but what happens is people start to doubt the signs. They're like, "That's not a sign." I'm like, "I ask for signs all the time," and then when they come, I'm like,
Mhm.
"That's my sign," or I'll choose a sign for something. Like, I'll
Yeah.
something random, like, I said yesterday, a red Tesla is my sign that my podcast is gonna go global, and I walked out of my office, and there was a red Tesla right in
There
front of
you
me.
go.
That's it, there you go. If you wanna manifest your dream life, then what are you waiting for? Pause Penny has created an amazing manifestation box to help you manifest your dreams. It is backed by neuroscience. 7 simple steps, and the box tells you how to do it all. Grab your manifestation box at pausepenny.com and use the code podcast20 for 20% off. But
Yeah.
what I want to know about cancer survivors is, and then we're going to get onto your business and how all that started, is like, did you have a lot of fear that it would come back? Like, what was your mindset like afterwards? And do other is it typical for cancer survivors to start having fear about it because it's obviously such a traumatic and life-changing event? How did you feel post once you came out rebuilding your life? What was your mindset like?
I can only speak to my experience. So for me, it was months and years, really, of rebuilding my life and my strength because I mentioned my muscle mass had decreased so much. And then my mind, the chemo brain, is real. Like I was just speaking gibberish at times, complete gibberish. So I had to literally retrain my mind. I would read children's books because I couldn't concentrate and read adult, you know, materials, adult books or magazines or the newspaper. My mum would literally bring a children's book to me in hospital to try and just get my mind to focus. So it was a whole rebuild of the body, of the mind, and that took a really long time and a lot of patience because I didn't have energy. I couldn't hang out with my friends and go clubbing or go to bar. Like that was just not it. It was literally rebuilding the mind, rebuilding the body, and just taking it one day at a time and being very patient,
And
which is a very helpful attribute as an entrepreneur now because you always want to get there faster, but you also got to be very patient and be consistent. So I was so motivated to get back to the life that I wanted that that motivation carried me through. And then, as I say, I started that legal career. So it was very rewarding for me to do that. And yeah, I just carried on. I was just, this is life now. And the touch points with the hospital became fewer. I'd even when I was working, not many people knew, but I was still going back to hospital. I still had to have treatment. And that would leave me very fatigued. So it was a really, really long time, many, many years of recovery. It wasn't sort of treatment is finished, you go home now, Lauren. It was go home, back to hospital, go home, back to hospital, months of vomiting. And then I had shingles and viruses, just endless for years. So yes, it was always patience, but motivation to keep driving forward and a belief that I would get better. And then, of course, you see the results. I could see my body getting stronger, muscle mass coming back, my brain came back, thankfully, my hair grew back, and they just sort of born again.
And folks, if you're looking at this on a clip, I am not kidding you, but her skin is unbelievable. It is, like, glowing. I told her before this, I was like, "I'm" and you know what's funny? I'm like, "Don't call her Sarah." Like, I keep saying, like, her name is Lauren. The company is called By Sarah, an
Yeah.
award-winning skincare brand. Please tell me, how did this obviously, there's gotta be some purpose behind this brand and
Yeah.
skincare and everything, and you're clearly, like, a picture for like, you should be in all your ads and marketing because your skin is just phenomenal.
Thank
Um,
you.
tell me, did it start with both of you and you chose your sister's name as a tribute to her because she was the one who saved your life, or had she started? How did By Sarah start? When did it start?
So I mentioned that my sister came to the hospital every day, and she was very much a part of my journey, quite literally through the transplant, but also seeing the change in my skin. So having months of chemotherapy and then particularly that total body irradiation, it destroyed my skin. It would literally shed away and flake away, very red, very sore, very reactive, sort of the last thing you want to be dealing with on top of everything else. And Sarah would go to local health food shops to try and find skincare to help, but so many didn't work. And so Sarah would literally at home, at the kitchen table, formulate for me and try and source the very best, particularly natural plant oils that she could find to help soothe and restore my skin. So this was very much a passion project for Sarah to help me. There was no intention at that time to start a business whatsoever. It was just, what can I do to help my sister? So I had the privilege and the benefit of enjoying this beautiful skincare from my sister, which she would bring to me and I'd love to use, but we really didn't think too much about it. And even once I got better, we shared Sarah's formulas with friends and family, and she'd sort of hand label and write everything. And they'd enjoy them. But really, it was that moment of me coming back from the Caribbean, a message from the universe, you might say, that brought me back. And I, at that time, didn't want to go back to law. I was so ready for another adventure of some kind. And with Sarah's industry knowledge, because she had worked in the industry for many years, Estee Lauder, Unilever, L'Oreal, she had a really good understanding of the industry. And now with these formulations that she developed, we thought maybe there's a seed of an idea of a business here. And with the two of us, two brains, two sets of hands, we can do something together. So we started very, very organically. There was no 5 year business plan. We weren't backed by VCs. It was just, who else can we tell? Who else can we reach? With skincare made particularly for people with stress and sensitive skin. That's really the niche that we identified through my own experience of people that we could really help. And so that was beginning of 2018, so a few years ago now, very soft launch, but we got incredible traction. The word of mouth was just unbelievable, and we were picked up really quickly by Deliciously Ella. She loved our hero facial oil. I was invited onto her podcast during COVID to share my story. And the more people we shared the story that tried the product, the more that they loved it. And that sort of flywheel kicked in. And the brand just grew and grew. So we're now a certified B Corporation.
What does that
We've been
actually
featured.
mean? Certified B. What does that actually mean for our listeners? What does it mean?
Yeah. So I mentioned we started with a very sort of purpose-led mission in that we were two sisters trying to help other people with their stressed and sensitive skin. So a B Corporation is a type of business that really meets the gold standard in sustainability
Mhm,
across all aspects of sustainability. So social, environmental, economic, and we've signed up to that and become a certified business, which means we're really going above and beyond to deliver the very best that we can as a business in its entirety. So we're not just selling products to make money, we're selling products to help people, to help the planet, to make a positive impact. So we've always looked for ways to build on that foundation of our sister founding story in becoming a certified B Corp. We're certified cruelty free, registered with the Vegan Society, and looking for the very best ways to support people with our skincare. So we're also dermatologically approved for sensitive skin as well. And you'll find us in Vogue, in Elle, in Marie Claire, The Times, and it's just really tremendous to see the reach from a very, very humble place, really. And I never, ever would have imagined that I'd become a co-founder and entrepreneur with my sister, but there we go. That's the story so far.
Do you think that, the hurricane on the island that you were on, like, made you more aware of the environment and what's going on with climate change and all of that, that you wanted to be a certified B, or is it just because it's just always been something that you guys have been kind of into?
It was more building on the foundations and the ethos of the business,
Yeah.
that that's the business model we wanted to support. And yeah, it's a fabulous community of other like-minded businesses that are all trying to make a positive impact. So that's a really proud moment for us. But more than that, it's the impact that we see on our customers' lives. It is incredible. Every single day, without fail, we will receive an email, a review, a DM from someone who shared their story, and they're looking for years for skincare to help soothe their skin, particularly if you're going through a life stage event. Maybe it's cancer, maybe it's menopause, maybe pregnancy, breastfeeding, and you're looking for skincare that you can trust. It's incredible to see the impact that we've had with our products. So I'm so proud, and so I don't take that for granted. I'm so moved by the impact that we have, and that people continue to share the brand with friends and family, and yeah, we're having a positive impact. So I'm so proud.
There is nothing like customer reviews, and I don't know because I have a small brand called Paws Penny. I get called Penny all the time. "Hi, Penny." I'm like, "It's actually Yvonne." But we create gratitude and manifestation boxes, so it's like your vision board in a box. And there are days where I am like, I'm a lawyer because I work for a neuroscience kind of based publicly listed company. I'm the corporate counsel, company secretary. And there are days that I'm like, what am I doing? As a lawyer, you can earn really well. Now you have to work hard, but you can earn well, and you are guaranteed a paycheck at the
Mhm.
end of every month. And I'm trying to sell these boxes, and then I say, Universe, just give me a sign. Please help me keep going. And I'll just get a review from someone or a message or a DM. And it's like, okay, this was my sign. Another day. What are the founder down days like? Like, how do you what do they look like for you? Because I think everybody has them where you're like I think I saw one of your posts, like, you were chasing some sort of van that had your stock in the boxes, and, like, it is nonstop, right?
Oh yeah, it is. That's exactly it. It is nonstop. It's not so much a down day. It's just every day there is something to something to deal with. It might be really positive, and you're thinking, how can I amplify this even more? Or it might be an issue and you need to fix it really quickly and drop everything else. So it's just having the ability to be flexible and approach every day with a learning growth mindset. And I've had to learn that so much because I started as a lawyer. I was thinking, I don't know, really what I can add as value here. I'm a lawyer. I understand contracts and precedents and clauses. Um, but the learning that you have at law school and practicing as a lawyer, I appreciate there's so many transferable skills that I've had that I've learned helps so much in the business, but also just continually being curious and willing to learn and reach out to others and learn from others. It's just a constant journey of learning, really. I think entrepreneurship is. You just got to figure it out, come with an open mind, and problem solve all the time and try and find the very best people you can to be with you on that journey.
Yeah, yeah. I think you people might not realize this, but the transferable skills that you have as a lawyer are huge. Your attention to detail, responsiveness, building connections, because you have to build connections even internally in a law firm. There's so many, and there's so many great lawyers that have gone out and done like some amazing things. But you seem to be like, let's say, by Sarah, right? What's the best, like, marketing tips that you have for other people that wanna start a brand or get it out there? Did you work with any influencers? Was it your LinkedIn account is amazing. I don't see your sister on it as much, but you're definitely on it. Was it Instagram, Facebook? Was it working with, people that had the products, word of mouth? Like, what worked for By Sarah?
I would love to say it's one thing and that's the silver bullet. Unfortunately, it's not. It's a dozen scores of different things firing all the time that you really see the impact. And we're still learning all the time. I'm by no means a marketing guru. Um, but I think what has benefited us so much is that attention on our customer. Never ever lose sight of that and really understand who your customer is. What is it they want from you? Why do they keep coming back and shopping with you? And how can you give them an even better experience? So that absolutely has to be at the core of what you do and what you think about and obsess about. Because without customers, you have no business. So it can be quite um, easy to get distracted with other things and ways to spend money and hope that you get a return. And maybe that will work and maybe it won't, but don't ever lose sight of your customers. Like that's got to be rule number one.
I think that's a great one. And you get so many when you're the founder, co-founder, and you're at the forefront of your business. Like I even find this myself, even though it can get you kind of a little bit sidetracked, but I'm getting emails from people. And it's me that's responding. I don't know if it's the same in By Sarah, but like people will respond and say, I got your box and now I don't want to know. And I'm like, okay, here you go. So like they're having that like connection with the person who understands the brand, So, okay, our final few questions because I know you've got to jump and you're busy. So, what are you manifesting now for By Sarah?
Oh, so much, so much. I'm so excited about this year. I really, really am. I can't believe it's May already. It's going too fast for me, but we have something so exciting coming soon. I can't say too much. But yes, it's been so much work and love and devotion. And yes, I know our customers in particular are going to love it. So, yeah, manifesting very much around this, not to be disclosed item. But yes, very feeling very confident and very positive about what we've got coming very soon.
And I love your branding. Like the
Thank you.
colors, the kind of light purple and peaches, I love that. Whenever I see those, it's just like a warmth kind of to it. The colors, I love the colors. So when you're kind of manifesting for your personal life or your professional life, do you write it down? Do you have a vision board? Do you have any set kind of strategy? Do you visualize? What's like your go-to?
Oh, many things. In hospital, that's where I started journaling.
Mm.
That was a real big moment for me in terms of getting what was in my head. I had a laptop, so I would type it on my laptop at the time. So I still journal every single day. And that's super helpful because some days I'll just like really silly things, but it just helps to get it out of your head and onto paper. And I have different things around my home that are sort of little beacons of inspiration that are smiling back at me. But also, I find saying things out loud to trusted people close to me. Um, when you say something out loud, well, two things. When you write something down, super powerful. When you say it out loud as well, I feel like you're really sending a strong message to the universe that way. So both of those things are pretty powerful.
Yeah, write it out. I always say, "You've gotta write it to invite it." That's what
Yes,
you
I love that.
Yeah, so you gotta
Write
write
it to
so that's
invite
why I'm
it.
gonna send you one of our manifestation boxes. I don't know if you
Oh,
can see it.
thank
It's
you.
like this, and it's 7 steps.
Sweet.
So you can write what you're manifesting. You write it down, and some people, they just read it out loud to themselves or they pin it on a vision board, and I'm gonna send it to I'll get your, address after this and send one to your sister as well because you are over did you know there's a scientific study, right? You're over 70% more likely to achieve your goal if you write it down, you take action, and you have accountability. So you doing it with
Mm.
your business partner, your sister, it's like, "By Sarah is just gonna go global." This is it has to happen. And then you had another manifestation I saw on your LinkedIn, which was with Davina McCall. So we've gotta get what was that about? Does she have a podcast or something now
Oh,
that
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a podcast with her partner Michael, and it's called Making the Cut. So, Davina, if you're listening, we would love to share our story and for your listeners to learn about our products.
You
So,
know she's
yeah,
a huge manifester. So this is your connection as well. She's
there
a
we
huge
go.
manifester. She was on Diary of the CEO, and she talked about how she went through her life, like, with the drug addiction,
Yeah.
and she was trying to get on MTV, and then all of a sudden, when she made that decision to get sober, change her life around, she was talking about how she just thought the universe opened up and brought her
Hmm.
the opportunities. So,
There you
Davina,
go.
let's go. Come on, you're always talking about buzz, and these products are, uh, perfect for that. And finally, I think I probably already know the answer to this, but you can say more than one person. Who are you grateful for?
Oh, has to be Sarah. It has to be my sister. Literally, I would not be here without her. And I get to work with Sarah every day, and we have the best time. We are so lucky that we get to do what we do. I don't take it for granted. And there's so much more we can do together as well. So it's a real joy, it's a real thrill, and yeah, I can't believe this is my life now. I'm really blessed.
Okay, final last question. What would you say to other entrepreneurs starting out?
Oof. Wow. If I reflect today on where I started, I really did not know what I was doing. I've had to learn so much and quickly, and I'm learning more quickly as well. But I would say be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's really, really, really hard to run a business and grow a business. And there's going to be amazing highs and really difficult lows, and you're gonna have to pull yourself back to that middle ground. When you're really high, you can't stay up there all the time. You've got to come back down and feel grounded and keep moving forward. And likewise, you can't be feeling down all the time. You've got to get up and keep moving forward. So it's trying to find what motivates you, what really gets that belly, the fuel in the fire, fuel. That's not the expression. Fire in the belly. There we
Yeah.
go. For you, because that will keep you moving forward. And that's what you need to do if you want to start a business.
Yeah, I say to my husband all the time, and I say to other people, I'm like, being an entrepreneur, the highs are high and the lows are low. And that is the
Yes.
number one lesson I've learned being an entrepreneur. I didn't really expect it because I have such
Mm,
a kind of a neutral, high vibey attitude. Like I'm pretty like, positive. I've always believed in the power of the mindset and manifestation. But then there would be these low dips, and I'd be like, oh my God, the highs are high, but the lows are low. but I started journaling it again of figuring out, I was like, "Are there too many low days?" But I realized there weren't as many as I thought. It's just the
Mm.
low days can be a little bit more all-consuming, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And maybe in those moments, you just need to change your energy, be in a different environment, take a walk, have a coffee with a friend, and just change the energy, and then you sort of move through that.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Another lawyer manifester. I thought I was a rare one, but the more lawyers I talk to, the more I realize they're really natural manifestors. Go, 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 do, real focused. But everybody check out Bye Sarah. And thank you so much for coming on and giving your time. I appreciate it so much. And happy
Thank you.
manifesting.
Absolutely. Thanks for all your support, Yvonne. Take
Thank
care.
you.